The New Balance Fuel Cell SuperComp Trainer. And yes, that is a mouthful. It is a carbon-plated shoe designed to be an everyday trainer, also potentially a race day shoe. I put a lot of miles in this shoe. What did I like? What did I dislike? Stick around. Hey there and welcome back. It's D2 with Big Peach Ride and Run. Today I'm reviewing the New Balance Fuel Cell SuperComp Trainer. And man, that is a mouthful. It took me a couple of tries to get that all in one take. So what we have here is a carbon plated shoe that New Balance introduced kind of in late 2022 at the end of last year. And I put in about 138 miles and it has been a daily trainer for me. I haven't done any races in it. It's just been my long distance training shoe. And you're like, why would you use a carbon plated shoe as a daily trainer? Well, that's sort of kind of what it's designed for. New Balance is using the Fuel Cell midsole, and it's got a carbon plate sandwiched in between two pieces of that midsole, which provides a very plush, very soft feeling, which is sort of what you would want if you're doing long distance and long type of runs. And you can see the carbon plate right through here. It's got this channel that's open, so you can see that carbon plate. They call this the energy arc through here, so meaning that when you land, it sort of kind of, the carbon plate sort of kind of compresses and then snaps back to provide that propulsion. So it has a great feel. And right out of the box, I went out and was easily running 12 to 13, 14, 15 miles without having to break the shoe in and had absolutely no issues. However, the more I ran into it, every once in a while an issue would pop up. But overall, love the shoe. So let's start with the upper first. So the upper has a nice kind of stretchy type of material up here at the top, right? So all this, it stretches just a little bit, provides a nice kind of comfortable feel around your foot. So the fit feels nice. It feels well supported. The end through here provides a little bit of, of an overlay that helps kind of secure the foot. It has a gusseted tongue. So it almost feels like it's a one-piece type of upper based on the design. And maybe that's because it's all one color. It looks that way, but it really is a gusseted tongue. And very thin, no padding on the tongue at all. And very little padding around the heel collar as well. A little bit here in the heel cup. But aside from that, very little padding anywhere. All the comfort really comes from the midsole. So lacing felt pretty good. It has this kind of it's not symmetrical. It's like an asymmetrical type of lacing. All that felt great. I did have a couple issues here and there. It was not all the time. It really depended on how I laced the shoe. So if I laced it really tight, I ended up having like at this point here, there was something through here where the lace kind of comes in, and because it is so thin through here, and I won't say it's like super thin, but there's no padding, this lace through here seemed that it rubbed the top of my foot, and I ended up getting a little bit of a blister on one of my runs. And could have been an issue with the sock as well, but that happened once. And so it did provide a little bit of discomfort towards the end of that run. The other issue I had, once again, had to do with the fact of how I lace the shoe. So in order for the shoe to feel comfortable, you have to kind of make sure that it feels secure. And it doesn't need to be super tight, but tight enough to where it feels secure and that there isn't any forward or backward movement, because that can't happen if it's not laced properly. And that's what happened to me, is I didn't lace it securely enough. So there was a little bit of movement and the top of my toes started hitting the front here. And obviously there's a protective, layer on the inside, some sort of a TPU or some sort of film there that protects that toe box area. And the front of my toes did tend to kind of rub up against it. So I did get a little bit of a blister on there. Aside from that, I had no issues, and it's still one of my favorite shoes. And despite that, I still wanted to run in it, especially as I was putting in longer miles. So I was definitely training for longer distances. I'm primarily focused on trail running right now, so no road racing, but I wanted to get those miles on the road. It just made it a lot easier. Instead of having to travel and find trails, I can step out my door or go to a nearby park and get the mileage that I need to get in. So no breaking in. Like I said, I went out and did 12 miles, first time, out of the box, no issues. 2 days later, 13. Another 2 days later, 14, and then on and on. And I've only put anywhere from 10 to 17 miles, as far as my long runs in the shoes. I didn't do any short mileage. Now, the cushioning feels really good. It's really soft, and I could see this being a daily trainer. I don't necessarily feel the carbon plate in it, where in other shoes that I've have tried in the past, especially more like the original Saucony Endorphin Pro, you could feel that carbon, you could feel a little bit of that rigidity. You don't feel it through here. Now, it's still a very rigid shoe, but you don't feel the carbon plate once you land, and it's just, you just feel all the cushion, which is really nice and welcome. So it's a shoe that I feel is great for long distance type of mileage. You can definitely use it for a marathon. This would be one of my top picks for a marathon shoe, and just like I said, for putting in those long miles, whether it's nice, slow, and easy. Now, it does have that carbon fiber plate, which does mean it makes it a little bit more responsive, so that if you put in the effort, and I did a few times where I just picked up the speed, it responds well, and you don't get that really firm responsive feel, but you get that quick energy return from the shoe. So that was nice that it has almost these two type of personalities, where it could be that nice, easy, sit back and just kind of do a nice long runs type of shoe. If you're, like for me, if I was doing a 10-minute, per mile pace, it was great. But if I wanted to pick up the pace and run an 8-minute mile or a little bit faster than that, I could certainly do that. So it serves those two purposes. Now, let's get a little bit into some of the specifics of it. So it is a 47 millimeter stack height. So, so at the highest point here, it's 47 millimeters. It is not a race legal shoe, which means that if you're out competing for prize money, or you're going to be at the front of the pack, and you have the potential to win, this shoe does not qualify to be race legal. 40 millimeters is the max that you could have as far as a midsole, a stack height, for shoes to be legal in any professional type of sanctioned race, especially if you're winning prize money. So why did they make this shoe? It's just one of those things where I think New Balance and like many others are trying to kind of push the boundaries, and they're making it this type of shoe for the everyday person, not necessarily for those that are out competing and the elites. They've got other shoes for those that are lower stack heights that meet their requirements. This is that max cushion shoe for the everyday person that maybe wants that additional plush feeling and still experience some of the responsiveness of the carbon fiber when they want to pick up the pace. Like I said, it feels great on my feet. Love it. One of my favorite shoes. Now, it is an 8 millimeter drop, which means the difference from the heel to the toes is 8 millimeters. So for anyone that is typically running in a traditional shoe, this will probably fit you pretty good, and you won't have any type of issues. Weight is a bit on the heavy side. Size 9 men's weighs 11.3 ounces. There's other race-worthy carbon-plated shoes that are more in that 6 to 7 ounce range. So this is definitely about 4 ounces heavier than those others type shoes. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's going to be geared towards those elites. It's geared more to the everyday runner, individuals that just want to feel comfortable putting in those long miles, someone who's training for a marathon or half marathon that just really wants to go out there and just not feel like they're beat up, like their legs aren't beat up, like their feet aren't beat up. So toe box feels good. It's not restrictive. It's not a narrow fit, but it's also not a wide fit. Because it stretches a little bit, I do feel like it could be a bit more accommodating. So they do have a wide version of this shoe. So if you tend to normally wear wides, then you'll probably need to go with a wide. But it does not run narrow. I do feel it also runs true to size. Now, because of that channel, here's a perfect example as I picked up, is that I did get a pebble lodge in between. Now it's a large enough, cavity there that you can get a larger rocks get in. And this is the first time I've seen it, but it gets lodged in there deep enough to where it never even affected it, because as you can see, it doesn't even come across. So it's in there, it's easily removed. Just one of the things I just picked up, but this helps kind of also keep the weight down. So one of the things that's coming, and one of the announcements that New Balance made, which I was surprised because the shoe was released in November, and already in December they had already made an announcement for the version 2 of this shoe. And version 2, which will come later this year, kind of mid-year, I think it'll be July, August when it'll be available, so less than a year out. The stack height is going to drop to be legal. The weight's also going to drop, and New Balance promises that it'll have the exact same plush feeling as this does. So if it can reduce the weight and lower the stack height, then it becomes more that race-worthy type of shoe that not only can you train in it, but use on race day as well. So overall, really love the shoe. I think it's got great arch support. No issues with the heel collar at all. I felt like I was secure the whole time. Like I said, the lacing, because it uses these lightweight and flat laces and there's no padding, the fit could be a little bit kind of finicky to get dialed in. But overall, it's one of my favorite shoes to run in. I'll continue to use it as I put in a lot of miles as I'm sort of kind of training and gearing up for a marathon later this year. So what are your thoughts on it? Have you tried the New Balance Fuel Cell SuperComp Trainer? Because, man, that's hard to say, but, is it something that you're interested in? Have you heard about it? Are you looking forward to the new version? Because I certainly am and would love to give that a shot. And, if you find these reviews useful, please subscribe, leave a comment below. I love answering your comments and questions that you may have. I look at all those, and, I'm here to kind of help you, pick shoes or help you, on your running journey, whatever it may be, and get you on the most comfortable shoes as possible. So leave a comment, like, subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.